Hello everybody, welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you are all doing well. Today's video is about Callum Hudson-Odoi, the young Chelsea winger. Before we get into today's video, I would like to ask you to please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon if you've been following me and enjoying my content. Because if you do that, it will provoke more content from me, and hopefully you want that. Right, so Callum Hudson-Odoi. Callum is Chelsea's youngster academy superstar attacking forward winger player. The player that had everyone excited last season, and with the arrival of Frank Lampard and Jody Morris, Chelsea fans, and probably England fans as well, can be excited at the prospect of him being selected and maybe in the first team. But the fact of the matter is, Callum was so good that he became a starting 11 player under Maurizio Sarri last season, who isn't particularly known for playing youth. I know there's an argument that he might have done it a bit at Empoli, but generally that's not his vibe. So for Callum to be so young and to really stamp his authority on that starting 11 before his injury at the end of last season speaks volumes, right? But let's talk about Callum's season last year. It was a bit of an interesting story because he did sort of wriggle his way a little bit into the team, a couple of performances, but it wasn't until he marched into Marina Granovskaya's office, slammed down that transfer request on her desk. Apparently that's how it went. That's from then on, what I'm trying to say is, that's when he started playing more. It's interesting, right, because the cynic in you would be like, well, he only started playing more because he put down the transfer request and put a gun to Chelsea's head. But the fact was, he was good enough to be playing in that starting 11. Anyway, since that sort of January time where him and Bayern Munich were making kissy faces at each other, he then started to play more and more, and it looked like the right decision, and the lad was shining. Much like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Callum Hudson-Odoi offered something a bit different and some kind of like, I guess, dynamism to Maurizio Sarri's dogmatic system. Sure, it was a possession-based, creative system in a lot of ways, but these kind of players like Ruben and Callum, they want the ball and they want to take responsibility and play direct. Callum demonstrated he could be incredibly useful in the Premier League, and like I said before he got his injury, he was in the starting 11 for Premier League games and all the more important games. But before he got that injury, it was the Europa League where Callum got the lion's share of his opportunities, his chances, I guess, the platform he used to really demonstrate how good a player he is. As Callum started to play more and more for Chelsea, the rumours about the Bayern Munich transfer started to die down. The fact of the matter is, he's been at Chelsea since he was a kid, and it's very clear that he loves the club. His attitude of how he trains with his teammates, how he's always playing and having fun, but is very serious and dedicated. When a Chelsea player scores a goal, he's first on the bundle, he loves it, he's celebrating. And when he scores a goal, you can tell the kid's elated. It's a dream come true. You can understand in terms of a career move why he wanted to go to Bayern Munich in Germany, especially looking at one of his best mates, Jadon Sancho, who's been a trailblazer and going to Dortmund. That would have seemed alluring to him, and his camp, his people, his manager, family, whatever, they would have got inside his ear and told him this is a good idea. There's nothing wrong with that. For a career move, and looking at the sort of status quo at the time, it did kind of make sense in a sort of professional manner. After scoring his first senior goal for Chelsea, Callum tweeted this message out, and I quote, "A dream come true, buzzing to get my first goal and assist for the team I've been playing for from the age of 8 years old. Hopefully many more opportunities to come." And that's tweeted with a picture of him celebrating or playing in that game. To this day, that is still Callum Hudson-Odoi's pinned tweet on his Twitter page at time of recording. So you could tell he's dedicated, devoted, and it is a dream come true. That young 17-year-old scoring a goal at Stamford Bridge, that meant so much to him. So as previously mentioned, the majority of his sort of performances came in the Europa League last season. So I want to look at some of his stats and numbers from the Europa League last season. So on that, let's take a look at the numbers. Goals and assists. Last season in Europe, Callum bagged himself 4 goals as well as 2 assists in as little as just 4 starts. That is an incredibly good return. I don't have to explain the numbers to you for that. But I will tell you the minutes per goal involvement in this competition, and it is as little as 69 minutes per goal contribution, which is banging, as the kids say. Chelsea fans would have all known about Callum Hudson-Odoi before last season started, or certainly the more die-hard nerdy ones, but suddenly the world was looking at this kid. Who the hell is this 17-year-old lad? Now let's take a look at some passing. In the competition last season, in the Europa League that is, Callum averaged 89% pass accuracy. For a direct, sort of creative, dribbly, risk-taking winger to execute a pass accuracy average of 89%, that is very decent. Well, very, very decent. It's good. He also managed to execute 1.7 key passes per game, which is a very smart stat in isolation by itself. You know, you might get that from a creative midfielder or someone, but you're getting it from a guy who wants to take responsibility himself and take shots. But it shows that he is willing to play his teammates in and be creative as well. A couple more stats I want to bring up. Callum took 1.6 shots per game, which kind of is the perfect amount. Like I said with the previous stat, he wants to take responsibility and pop shots off when he can, but he's not just taking the shots for the hell of it. I mean, it does look like he often scores when he takes a shot, but he wants to make the right move, play in a key pass when he's not taking a shot off. So it's the perfect kind of balance in that sense. Right, dribbles. Callum Hudson-Odoi averaged 3.3 dribbles in Europe last season. Now, for a little bit of perspective, that's roughly the same as what Lionel Messi was doing in the Champions League last season. Now, I know what you're saying, it's a different level and stuff, but Callum was a 17-year-old playing with players not as good around him, so pretty darn impressive. Callum also bagged 2 Man of the Match awards in the Europa League last season. Now, he only started 4 games, so 50% of his starts he was winning Man of the Match. That's really impressive. Remember, he's a kid just breaking onto the senior game as a 17-year-old against seasoned players in a European competition. Very impressive. And the final stat I want to talk about is the WhoScored rating given to Callum Hudson-Odoi. WhoScored gave him a 7.60 rating in the Europa League last season. That is a very good rating. Again, for some perspective, Eden Hazard got 7.63, so basically the same as Eden Hazard. And Hazard, put in a worldy performance in the final against Arsenal, grabbing 2 goals and an assist, I think. So it just shows how good Callum's performances was in the Europa League last season. Again, maybe the competition was easier at that stage, but he was a 17-year-old with a worse 11 around him, so context is required everywhere. Anyway, that's enough of the numbers. The fact is, Callum was electric last season. He really caught everyone's eye. Obviously, Bayern Munich was starting to make loads of noises about him. It looked like they were willing to break their transfer record on a Chelsea Academy product that hadn't played that much. I mean, that speaks volumes. That's testament to his ability. But there was more than that. Callum got a call up to the England senior team. He made his debut for England, and then immediately after made his competitive debut for England in the Nations League. I mean, that was pretty darn impressive. If you make the comparison to Manchester City's Phil Foden, who played a decent amount of minutes for the champions, he's not getting that call up. Callum is. He's being identified as one of England's top talents, and for me, he's up there with Jadon Sancho. And given the opportunity, I think there's the ceiling on Callum Hudson-Odoi. You can't see it; it's so high. So hopefully, the arrival of Frank Lampard and Jody Morris sees Callum play more and more, provided he comes back strong enough from his injury and it hasn't affected his footballing mentality or anything like that. Right, okay guys, that's it for today's video on Callum Hudson-Odoi. I really hope you enjoyed this video. He's such an exciting player for England and the Premier League, and indeed just world football. If you've enjoyed it, please like the video, comment your opinions on Callum down below. Did you enjoy the video? Do you agree with my opinions on Callum? Do you have anything to add or comparisons, whatever? Get it down in the comments. Yeah, so that's it really. Like the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. That's it guys, enjoy the football, I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me bitch.